And we're back with yet again another update on the overall market. And I'm sure a lot of people, I've been seeing the comments coming in over the past, few days, Crypto ZX, where are you? We need updates. I was under the weather over the last, I would say, 3 to 4 days. So, I just decided to just take complete rest because, of course, recording and talking when you are obviously not feeling well, doesn't go hand in hand. So of course, I decided to kind of take a break. Feeling much better. So shout out to you guys. The ones that are obviously wondering where I was. Appreciate your guys' support. Continue supporting, and you will see a continuation of these updates. So. The first update, that I really want to, bring to you guys is, of course, the market analysis. Really understanding what's happening with the overall market because, of course, in terms of uncertainty, it's quite high once again. And, of course, due to some external factors that are obviously having an impact on the market. But if you're looking across the board right now, you are seeing the market turning into green, as you could see this for yourself. We are starting to see over the last 24 hours some coins up, like I said, but you don't really want to be paying attention to the 24 hours right now. I'd rather have you guys focus over the last 1 week what's happening with the markets. Market is pulling down quite substantially. You could see this for yourself over the last 1 week. Double-digit drop for multiple projects across the board. So, all the gains that we were starting to see, pretty much, getting wiped out based off of, Bitcoin reaction and, of course, dominance as well. Again, I'm going to kind of touch base on all of that for you guys. But before we get into it, as always, just a quick disclaimer. Anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So S&P 500 futures officially entered correction territory, bringing 4-day market cap losses to $2.7 trillion. The NASDAQ 100 is now just 5.5% away from entering a bear market. As we did start off the week, though, we did see the S&P 500, see a little bit of an uptick. But guys, in the grand scheme of things, the markets are going down because, of course, the trade war is really, putting a lot of, uncertainty out there. And of course, that doesn't sit well with a lot of people. And of course, we can really see the market reacting in that way. And moving forward, you can see, the Ethereum to Bitcoin ratio has dropped to 0.02. It's lowest since December 2020. Guys, Ethereum is showing significant amount of bearish price action. You can see this for yourself. Numbers speak for themselves. Over the last 2.5 years, the ratio has declined, a whopping 75%. This comes as Bitcoin prices have significantly outperformed Ethereum. During this time, Ethereum prices have risen 36%, while Bitcoin has gained 316%. So in Bitcoin comparative, Ethereum is getting completely wrecked. And you can see, this year Ethereum has dropped 46%, nearly 4 times more than Bitcoin's decline of 12%. Ethereum is losing its market share. And if you follow my channel from on a day-to-day, point, and you've been here with me for a long time, I've been saying something specifically along these lines that even though Ethereum has that first mover advantage, which does help it. Of course, it's been here for such a long time. But in terms of, the project itself, in terms of a blockchain itself, there's so much better competitors out there. Look what Solana was able to achieve in such a short span of time. The DeFi sector, that itself, if you kind of know the on-chain metrics, you could see how other chains were actually outperforming Ethereum. So what's really, the value behind Ethereum now? What is the intrinsic value behind Ethereum at this point? And what are people really betting on? Like, where could Ethereum really be going in the long term? Is it just like a store of value aspect at this point? That is still up in the air. But again, this is something that you want to kind of look at. So of course we'll see what happens. This is something that is worthwhile noting. I still do believe that the market bull run is not over. I think maybe we do see bull run at the end of the year because right now there is a lot of uncertainty. And again, even if you base it off of the previous cycles, we have seen something similar happen. And again, we have not seen anything close to what we have seen happen, for Bitcoin in the previous cycles as to, what we have seen so far. So again, things could get much worse if it were to repeat the last cycle, moves. So that is something a lot of people just completely neglect. People are focusing more on, what's happening with the price right now. But what if I told you, if you want to really, kind of compare bull run to bull run, last cycle, 2021, we saw in the bull market, prices drop 60% for BTC. So of course, from the high that we have set for ourselves, as you can see this for yourself back at the beginning of the year, if you consider it from there, we have long ways to go if we were to drop like around 40 to 50%. So again, these are some things that we shouldn't really be forgetting. But if you're looking at BTC right now, you can see Bitcoin is sitting below the 38.2. And again, this is a market analysis update. This impacts everything. Whether you hold Solana, whether you hold XRP, Hbar, XLM, Pepe, whatever the case may be, this impacts your coin. So you can see this for yourself. We're in the 38.2 over the last few days. Of course, we're starting to range around this 88K, but of course, due to some of the news that we're hearing, we did drop back below the 38.2 into the 0.50. We kind of retested the 81.5 two different times, but you have seen the price reclaim back in the 38.2. So as of now, we still have a lot of time till we do see the daily Canada close happen. But in a grand scheme of things, we're starting to see a lot of these other factors really impacting not only the crypto markets, but the overall traditional market as well. And gold has once again hit an all-time high. So you can see President Trump says companies are pouring into our country at levels levels never seen before, with the jobs and money to flow. There will never have been a transformation of a country like the transformation that is happening for all to see in the U.S. So again, I know a lot of people are going to be wondering, if this is really indeed happening, why is the overall market and so much uncertainty within the investors. So again, obviously that is due to some external factors which again are not controlled. And remember, when it comes to investing, there's always a risk factor involved. If you're not able to take that exposure into like that risk, because the risk factor is always going to be there. But if that's something that you're not capable of really capable of taking on, then again, this is not for you. Investment might not be for you because risk is always going to be involved. And this is why I always say do your due diligence, research, and invest where you can afford to lose. But what a lot of people will ignore is look what's happening with the dominance once again. Even though we did see the dominance falling down over the last few days down to the 61.35%, but you can see this for yourself. We have went up to 62.5% just a few hours back. So, you're seeing the dominance, picking up strength once again. And guess what that's going to do to altcoins? Altcoins are going to bleed, and that's exactly what we're seeing happening right now against Bitcoin. Bitcoin is holding much better than altcoins. And again, this is that correlation that we need to understand. This is why I talk to you guys about Bitcoin dominance so much. Again, very important for us to get back into 38.2. If not, I still do believe that we could start heading below 80K once again, potentially, guys, even retesting the 0.50 support, and that neckline at 73.7 is still on the table if we're not able to obviously get back into 23.6. And of course, some of the external factors need to be considered as well. I'll keep you guys covered. Let me know down below what you guys think. We're back on schedule though. Love you all. Let me know which other updates you want to see. We'll see you later when Crypto ZX, and peace out.